When the mental, emotional perturbations have died away, it is like a pristine jewel in which the coinciding of experiencer, experiencing, experience shines. In dreams, in the process of dreaming, we are given a great deal of insight into how consciousness works. One of the things that happens in dreams is we create a whole world, or a whole world is created. We could be walking in the mountains. We're interacting with other people. There's space, there's time. That's all going on in a dream. We tend to dismiss it when we wake up. We say it's just a dream. But what we've got here is consciousness in operation, creating space, time, and objects, and experiences, and people to experience these experiences. And this is what's actually happening in the waking state, because consciousness is still operating, isn't it? Consciousness is still doing its thing in the waking state. It's creating space, time, notions of an external world, notions of solid objects with various characteristics. This is what's going on. This is what consciousness is doing. And at some point we can wake up from this. We realize there's only the experiencing going on, and that the one who's doing the experiencing, or the one who regards himself as the experiencer, and the objects of experience are notional, are without substance. This is the yogic understanding. Now, we're not throwing away the idea of an external world. This is very useful in many ways. It's useful for survival. It's useful for social interaction. But we're moving beyond that understanding to a deeper understanding, a different mode of understanding, where there is no distinction between the one who is experiencing and the objects that they're experiencing. What I describe as the pure experiencing. So this is a tricky one. This is a major obstacle to true understanding, to be able to tune into this understanding. It's a major obstacle to overcome, this conviction in an external world, the existence of a solid external world. It is a conviction. We're convicted by it. This is consciousness in operation. But realization is realizing the pure nature of consciousness, the pristine jewel of consciousness, which is not caught up in this dynamic. Now, what I've translated as experiencer, experiencing, and experience is actually more correctly translated as the grasper, grasping, and the object that's grasped. But I've put down experience because we're looking at things on a very subtle level. The concept of grasping is rather gross, and we need to look at what's going on a very subtle level. And if you're sitting in meditation or you're trying to meditate, what's actually causing the problem? Meditation usually involves some kind of focusing, some kind of concentration. And it can be difficult, it can be problematic. And why is that? Because we feel this tug. Our attention is pulled to other things. We might start thinking we want to get on with things. We might get lost in a fantasy of some sort. We're restless. And what's going on here is the desire for experience. We want to be doing something else. This is the grasping, but it's very, very subtle. It's actually the desire for experience. Grasping is actually the desire for experience. So that's why I've translated it as experience. is based on the understanding that there's somebody here wanting something from a world out there. And as long as we believe in that distinction, there's going to be grasping, there's going to be the experiencer experiencing an object of experience. But if we can get over this understanding, if we can look more deeply into it, either through what's called discursive inquiry in Sutra 44, or direct inquiry, by thinking about it by whatever means suits you, look into the whole process of perception. This is a great mystery, which I've gone into in great detail before. But if you look into it, this model of this understanding of an experiencer here experiencing objects out there doesn't actually hold up if you really look into it, either intellectually or through direct realization. So we need to get beyond that. And if we get beyond it, then there's nothing out there to distract us from being established in samadhi. Our samadhi is only troubled when we feel there's something out there that we can grasp onto. This understanding of an external world out there is reinforced by words. We understand words to be labels attached to solid objects. But Sutra 42 says, in that coinciding, it is realized that the meaning of a word is nothing more than thinking based on insubstantial notions. So when we look into it, it's like the mountain in a dream. We say the word mountain, the very word itself conveys a sense of solidity, of grandness, of reality. But it's nothing more than an insubstantial notion. And in fact, all the words that relate to objects in dreams relate to dream objects. And this is the working of consciousness once again. It's doing the same thing in the waking state. All the words that we use are based on insubstantial notions. They're not based on things out there. This is a cognitive process at work, creating notions of an external world. This is what distracts us from our samadhi.